welcome back to another episode of LKD Talks. My name is Emmanuel LKD, and let's unplug and be real for a sec. So, I literally just got back from work today. I got off work at 6 this morning. I was actually really tired, uh, and I still wanted to shoot a podcast episode today because I'm kind of behind schedule. But at the same time, I didn't want to because I was so tired. And especially when I got back, right now I'm kind of tired. You can't tell, but I'm kind of tired right now. But then no one's at the house right now. So I thought I might as well just get an episode in. There's no one, there's no fans going off in the kitchen, there's no one talking to their friends or whatever. None of that. It's just me in the house. So I thought, I might as well, might as well just get something done. Might as well do something. Might as well record this while I have the time and the opportunity to. Or else I'm just going to forget about it and then I'm going to be even more too tired to do anything. So I thought, might as well just take my chance. So I'm running off a little bit of a sleepy high. But I'm not super sleep deprived, but this is I tell this to my friends a lot. This is the same kind of effect that being high or drunk is, but in terms of sleep deprivation, where I'm just kind of impulsive and just saying whatever comes to my mind, kind of energetic, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, I'm sorry, but if it does, to my other sleep deprived people, you know what I'm talking about. And honestly, today, what's been on my mind, I kind of just wanted to talk about perfectionism because starting off 2023, I realized that, yeah, I am a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to things. And how I came to think about that was through writing down goals and ideas of what I want to do more than actually doing it. This year, I've realized I didn't write down any goals for what I want to do or what I want to accomplish. I just know that I have to do it. I just know that I have to do it. There's Next Wave Studios helping, go out there more often, just being there, building it out from the ground up. I mean, I wasn't there from the ground up from the start. Shout out Eli. That man put in so much work for Next Wave Studios. I'm just there. I'm just there to help. I didn't make Next Wave Studios, but I'm just there to help, and I'm just glad that I can be able to be a part of that and create to get Next Wave to where we want to be. But I digress. I got a little sidetracked, but I realized I just have to do it. I literally just have to do it. It's still good. Don't get me wrong. It's still good to write down some ideas of what your goals are so that you know what you're going to do. But the thing is, for me, I already know what I have to do. I just have to do it. I don't have to, it doesn't have to necessarily be fancy or big, extravagant, written down goals. I just have to do it. And I don't have to know everything before I do something either. I was listening to the Bless God podcast by Ruslan KD. He said there's a huge gap between knowing and doing. I can know all I want, but if I'm not applying that knowledge or if I'm not executing, then everything that I've learned or preconceived myself to the notion of knowing, then it's garbage. It's useless. So I just decided I'm gonna just start doing stuff. That's why I'm literally right here, right now, just sitting in this chair. I decided that, no one's home right now. I might as well just sit down, hit record, get my camera set up, and just do it. Just do it before I forget or before there's no time left. So I might as well just get it done right now. So that's the energy I'm on right now. And yeah, I mean, I used to think that I needed to block out a certain amount of time to get something done. Until I've heard from another podcast called the Art of Manliness podcast, uh, and they had an episode about time and time management. And one of the guests on there said that we need to change the way how we see time. We shouldn't see time as linear, as he said. I don't remember the exact guest, but it was a guest on that podcast. He said, because if we look at time as linear, then we're going to be limited in this, confined space where we're not, we think that we can only use this block for this amount of time or this block for this amount of time. This is my time for making TikToks. This is my time for recording music. This is my time for eating lunch, stuff like that. And he encouraged to kind of push outside that boundary, push outside that box, and see time as a circular. We can do so much when time is not limited per se. So an example of that would be, here's an example. Here's an example. I used to think that I needed an hour to get a workout in, right? If it was maybe, let's say, 9:30 p.m. at nighttime, right? And then I wanted to go to bed by 11:30 p.m. I used to think that, I wanted to get a good hour or an hour and a half in so that I can get a proper workout in. But if I kind of trick myself to saying, no, I can get a good workout in 30 minutes at least, or maybe 15 minutes. And then with that limited amount of time, it'll kind of push me. And then the endorphins in my brain and my body will act up and say, no, you know what? I can push the time a little bit more, push the time a little bit more. So where I end up taking longer than I thought it would take. Instead of 30 minutes, I actually did take an hour. And basically, with what I was just trying to say with that, is that the time for me, this is for me, this won't apply to everyone, of course. People can work under time blocks if they want to. I realize that for me, that time blocks can still be helpful, but they can also kind of prevent me from taking that action because it's kind of like the memes where it's like, oh, this year I messed up. It's okay. 2024 is going to be my year. It's kind of like those memes, but if I think that, say I'm going to record this song at 8 p.m. and then it's 8:15 p.m. and then I'm like, oh, dang, I guess I don't have that time block anymore. Or, oh, well, I messed up, then I'm not going to do it, that's how some people think. That's how I kind of think sometimes in some situations, and I'm trying to kind of shift that narrative so where I can uh think that no, I don't need that time block specifically. As long as I get it done, that's what matters. And then I'll end up, pushing the envelope where I take longer than I thought I would in that instance. Yeah, so honestly, perfectionism and waiting for the right time is a waste of time, in my opinion. Or not even in my opinion. I think that's just facts. I think that's just facts. I could be wrong though, you can combat me or whatever. But yeah, because hang on, I have this written in my journal. I wrote it down last night so that I wouldn't forget it. I'm just gonna grab it real quick because I wrote something in there that struck me and stuck out to me. I was like, ooh, this is nasty. This is fire. I kind of surprised myself, like, that's kind of fire. Hold up. So let's see. Yeah, so what I wrote down in my journal, I said, stop being a perfectionist because no one really cares. And what that means is that everyone is kind of already self involved in themselves already. S- And for how I see people as naturally we're kind of selfish, and it's because it's what's it called? Survival instinct, where we look out for ourselves and you know, how people perceive us and what comes into our mind versus, or just what comes into our mind. And basically when I wrote this, I was writing this and then I just kind of just rambled on to say that's not to say that what you put out or the work that you put in should be mediocre, but that you shouldn't overthink it. You shouldn't overthink it because overthinking it will just waste time. And I honestly I think that's natural to a degree where we want to overthink our craft or our work to make sure that we are doing it right. Sometimes I'll get a second opinion so that I can make sure I'm not crazy. But, there's always that instance where it's like, is this really that good that that I think about, and if people say, "Oh no, it's not that good, that's whack," then, then I want to change up the whole thing. But basically with that, no. Don't put out mediocre content because people are instinctively selfish. Still put out the best content you can. I mean, for me as a creator, as an artist, I'm still gonna put out the best content I can because why not? I want to, from my Christian perspective, I want to glorify God to the best of my abilities. Why would I glorify the creator of the universe with mediocre content? Why would I show off my gifts if my effort or if my content is mediocre and mid, as people say these days? I mean, I say mid, but I'm just saying it if people don't know what mid means, but it means mediocre, basically. But I digress. And, if you are putting out stuff into the public, then you should want to put your best out anyway, because it's a display of yourself as well. Even if you don't believe in God, it's a display of yourself about who you are and what your character is and what values you hold. Uh, so you should want to be putting the best out there anyway. But at the same time, don't overthink it and don't be a perfectionist about it because I promise you, no one cares as much as you do. And I've realized that people only care, like, I'm talking to creators right now. People only care if your content is out. They don't care if the compressor in the mix is 2 decibels over than what it needs to be for the gain. Like, people don't really care about that. If you, I came across this reel on Instagram directed to creators and recording artists that about I'm trying to remember. No, it wasn't a reel. It was a Nick D video on YouTube. And he said that artists don't make music. I mean, artists are making music for music listeners. You know, the average music listener won't pay attention to the mix or the engineering. But at the same time, you still want your song to be listenable and sound good and the best that it can be. Uh, so at the same time, don't overthink it, but at the same time, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. Oh man. Yeah. That's my thoughts on perfectionism as a creator, as an artist, as someone who likes to work to a T. And it's just like I I'm just talking to remind myself as well and to remind you out there as well. If you're listening, if you're an artist, if you're a creator, or if you're just someone who is an entrepreneur, you know, a creative, anyone. Honestly, this can apply to anyone. It doesn't have to necessarily just be creatives or artists or entrepreneurs. This is to anyone. This is to anyone. Yeah, so and look at that. Yo, I just heard the door open for someone in my family to come back home. So I'm glad I took this time to record. I'm glad I took the time to record and just get something done. And look at this. I thought uh I would only take like maybe like 10 minutes, but I'm already about 16, 17 minutes into this podcast. So yeah, I think we covered good ground here. Thank you for watching and listening. Please like and comment. It really helps out a lot. And subscribe for more LKD Talks. I really appreciate it. Thank you. This is the 8th episode out now. So I really appreciate all the support on the reels, on the people commenting, people swiping up. I really appreciate it. I really do appreciate it all. And I don't take it for granted. And it helps me keep going. So make sure to follow me on my Instagram at Emmanuel LKD, Twitter, same handle. Uh, subscribe to YouTube. Check out my music on Spotify and Apple Music and all other music platforms. And I'll see you all in the next video. Next episode, please make sure not to overthink and don't be perfectionist because it's a waste of time. Peace out, y'all.